welcome to this episode of PS I Love You. Once again, today we'll be working with geometric art, which was heavily based on a tutorial posted on Tumblr. We've posted the link below. The credits goes to the creator of that tutorial for sharing this. Anyways, let's get this show on the road. Let's just get Photoshop running. Now, before we do anything, we'd want to make sure we have the same workspace to avoid confusion. For this tutorial, I'll be using Essentials, which is the default workspace of Photoshop. So let's hit File, New, and I'll just give this a file name. Now, you could use any settings you want in the presets, but I'll be sticking with these. Just make sure the background is white. Maybe I'll increase the resolution a bit. Alright, let's go. Now we'll want to place the image we want to turn into a graphic. Just drag it onto the stage like that. Adjust the image so the part you would want to draw fits the screen. Hold the shift key while dragging the knob so the image would scale proportionally. That is, it doesn't get all stretchified like that. And that should just about do it. Okay, next we create a new layer. And I'll call this one palette. I'll just put the color palette in here. Oh, and before I forget, don't forget to lock the layer you're not using. Given that, it helps if you've selected your color palette ahead of time. If you're having trouble picking the colors, or like me, I'm not very good with colors, you can always find the color palette online. In the interest of time, we'll be using the same palette which was in the original tutorial. So I'm just gonna import the hex colors and paint them onto my palette. So just paste the hex code into the color picker and it should give you the color corresponding to it. And just use your paintbrush to paint onto it. Just do that for every color. So when you're done, just lock the palette layer and we'll make a new layer called Geom. I didn't know what to call it. But essentially, this is just where we'll put our graphic. I should have called it graphic. Anyway, now here's the main part of the tutorial. So select the polygonal lasso tool. Now the brightest, most noticeable color in our color palette, that's what we'd want on the brightest parts of our image. So we'll use the light orange one for that. And a good place to start would be right about there. So with the geometric lasso tool in hand, just click. And then the next point of your triangle, just click on it. Well, it takes a while to find it. If you weren't happy with your last point, you can just press delete. Okay. And we'll want to close the triangle. So on your third point, just bring it back to where you started. And you should see a little circle next to the tool. And just click right there. Now you'll want to get the eyedropper tool. You can select it or use the shortcut key I. Now get the light orange color. Now select the paint bucket tool or G as the shortcut. And all you gotta do is spill the paint onto our selection like so. Now you'll be doing this over and over again for quite some time. So some useful shortcut keys you'd want to learn is L to select the lasso tool. Just like that. So just press L. Once you've laid down your shape, hit G. And you can just paint click inside the selection and you'll just paint right over it. Then hit L again, make your shape, G. Hit L again to make your new shape. Close the triangle, G, click inside the selection. So yeah, it's a lot faster that way. Don't forget that you can always move your shape or resize it or whatever if it feels a bit off. We'll touch on that later. For now, we'll just add another one of our triangles. There we go. Okay. So we'll just keep doing that. I'll speed this part up. Now, if you think you've placed enough bright spots and you're happy with it, we can move on to a mid-tone, slightly darker color. So we'll go put this in the darker areas of the image. That would look like so. And click inside the shape with the paint bucket tool to fill. Alright, let's find another spot for this. Maybe about here. Right below the shadow. Okay. So yeah, for this tone, we're just gonna keep doing that again and again. So just the general thing to know, like a lighter color would look closer, and the darker color would look as if it's going away, it's receding. Now, just something that could help you consider when it comes to placement of which color to put where. Like for example, in that last color I just placed there, I used a lighter shade of blue because I wanted to give the impression that the angle of the nose at that area is headed towards the viewer. So just continue putting the shapes where you feel they belong into. I mean, it's a matter of trial and error, actually. A few intelligent guesses along the way. And here, let's say you feel like moving a shape. You feel it's a bit off. What you can do is, okay, let's say assuming it's not selected. What you can do is hit W, select the magic wand tool, and just select the shape. Now you can press Control T or Command T if you're in a Mac, and just resize or move or even rotate the shape as you feel like it. That's if you want a quick fix to your problem. However, there are some limitations. Like here, if you make a really big change, you're gonna notice that the shape sort of pixelates, and we wouldn't really want that. So if that's the case, you might want to consider deleting the shape and starting over instead. So now I'll just lapse through a bunch of other shapes. Now once you've added enough shapes, you'll start to get an idea on how well your graphic stands out on its own. Now to do that, all you gotta do is hide the image layer. And well, there now you see how the graphics look so far. So this could give you an idea on maybe where to add shapes, or if it doesn't seem quite right, or maybe we should change the color here and there, some stuff like that. And with that, just continue to add shapes as you feel you need them. Now you notice I only use white now. So we reserve the white for the spaces that I wouldn't want to add colors in, but wouldn't want them to feel empty. And as you also notice, I'm doing some adjustments as I go and making minor additions here and there. And eventually, okay, that's looking good. Okay, so now we can add the hair. Now for this part, we're gonna cheat a bit. So if you notice, I'm just filling the entire thing. Same thing with the dress. Also, I'm using a different color. I'm using dark gray, blackish. So now for the hair, instead of making the triangles individually, it might save us time. What we do instead is I'll just use the lasso tool and sort of make triangles there. I mean, I make selections there and just delete it. Now from that, all I gotta do is form a bunch of triangles like so. So we do the same thing for the dress. Now once that's there, next thing we do are the eyes. By now you've probably mastered the use of this tool, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. All you gotta do is trace over it like this. Try to sort of get the details, but keeping it all geometric and stuff. Nice. We also do the same thing for the lips. That seems a bit off. Hang on. Okay, let's try it like that. From here, it's the home stretch, maybe a few more tweaks here and there. Eventually, you'll reach to the point you're happy with your work and you're done. So that concludes the tutorial. Hope to see you in the next episode of PS I Love You. Goodbye now.